Thank you all for taking the time today to the annual Norton High School Memorial Day Assembly. Although this assembly is different from years past, the meaning behind Memorial Day remains the same: to remember and honor those who have fought for our freedom. We ask you to take a few moments today to think of all those countless sacrifices by men and women for our nation. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Sophie D'Amour.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
They stood side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and answered the call. They moved forward, advancing the ideas that everyone was free, everyone was created equal, everyone has the right to pursue their own dreams, and that our nation was founded on those ideals. But not all of them came back. Some remained, never to go home, never to see their families. And some we lost this side of the field of battle. They were sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, greatly loved. They charged forward for honor and peace and freedom. We acknowledge the empty space where we want them to be. Together we pay sincere tribute to those who fought for us, those we remember, those we love.
Good morning, Norton High School. Over the past 6 years at our Memorial Day Assembly, it's become a tradition for the Social Studies Department to highlight and honor a local veteran who has gone above and beyond, not just for their country, but for the town of Norton itself. In recent years, we've profiled some amazing local heroes who put their lives on the line as members of the U.S. Armed Forces and then return home to Norton to give back to their local community, and in many cases, including the Norton Public Schools. Back in 2015, I had the honor of beginning this special tradition by paying tribute to one of Norton's most famous local veterans. With World War II raging around the world in 1944, Mr. Herbert Church left high school at the age of 17 to enlist in the Navy and would soon find himself making his way to the Pacific Theater. Herb would serve as a member of the U.S. Navy Amphibious Force with the title of Quartermaster Third Class. His duties included transporting the Army's 27th Infantry Division to the island of Saipan to battle the Japanese. Following the war, Herb would return home to the U.S. in 1946 and married the love of his life, Miss Ruth Johnson, a Norton High School graduate of the class of 1948. Herb and Ruth would settle down in Norton, a town that they would spend the rest of their lives in. Over the next 70 years of marriage, Herb would become a pillar of our community, dedicating his life to helping others. Herb felt most comfortable when he was advocating and supporting his fellow veterans. A man with quiet dignity, respect, and honor, he would go on to become one of Norton's most appreciated and respected citizens. When he wasn't working on behalf of his fellow veterans, he could often be found educating and helping students in the Norton Public Schools. Herb spent over 60 years coming to every Norton High Memorial Day Assembly, visiting and speaking in classrooms about his World War II experiences, and being the Boys and Girls State Coordinator from 1953 up until 2018. Norton Public Schools was proud to present Mr. Church with his honorary high school diploma back in 2015, making him a permanent member of the Norton High family. Sadly, this past January, Herb passed away at the age of 94. His service was attended by many, including members of all military branches. He's deeply missed by his wife, Ruth, his family, his fellow veterans, and by Norton Public Schools. Being that this is the first Memorial Day Norton has had since World War II without Herb Church being present, and due to his legacy of helping others, we felt it would be appropriate to permanently honor his memory. Beginning with next year's Memorial Day Assembly, the annual award given to a local veteran will henceforth be known as the Norton High School Herbert Church Award for Service and Sacrifice. Thank you for your service, Herb.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives so that their nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who have fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause, for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth.
Today is the day we put aside to remember fallen heroes and to pray that no heroes will ever have to die for us again. They chose to reject the fashionable skepticism of their time. They chose to believe and answer the call of duty. They stood for something, and we owe them something. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice